with family, friends, Fidelity. And we're still in Proverbs. We're going to the 11th chapter. And we're going to read it out of the King James Version, and then we'll have a different, we'll have another, I should say, translation, which I hope will help our understanding. Give an ear, if you desire to. A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When pride cometh, then cometh shame. When pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly is wisdom. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. The righteousness of the perfect or mature shall direct his or her way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors shall be taken in their own naughtiness. When a wicked man dieth, his expectation shall perish, and the hope of unjust men perisheth. The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. An hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor, but through knowledge shall the just be delivered. When it goeth well with the righteous, the city rejoiceth, and when the wicked perish, there is shouting. By the blessing of the upright, the city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. He that is void of wisdom despiseth his neighbor, but a man of understanding holdeth his peace. A talebearer revealeth secrets. A talebearer revealeth secrets. But he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. He that is surety for a stranger shall smart for it. He that hateth suretyship is sure. And here, when it used the word smart, that means we're hurt for it. That doesn't mean wisdom. So I just thought I'd point that out in case somebody said, well, I know what smart means. Well, words, how they're used in a sentence, oftentimes will also define what the meaning is. A gracious woman retaineth honor, and strong men retaineth riches. The merciful man doeth good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. The wicked worketh a deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward. As righteousness tendeth to life, so he that pursueth evil pursueth it to his own death. They that are of a froward heart are abomination to the Lord, but such as are upright in their way are his delight. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion. The desire of the righteous is only good, but the expectation of the wicked is wrath. There is that scattereth and yet increaseth, and there is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tendeth to poverty. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him, but blessing shall be upon the head of him that selleth it. He that diligently seeketh good procureth favor, but he that seeketh mischief, it shall come to him. He that trusteth in his riches shall fall, but the righteous shall flourish as a branch. He that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind, and the fool shall be servant to the wise of heart. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. I know y'all know that one. Behold, the righteous shall be recompensed in the earth, much more the wicked and the sinner. And this was pretty good coming out of King James. Let's give an ear. False scales are an abomination to Yah, but accurate weights please him. First comes pride, then disgrace. First comes pride, then disgrace. But with the humble is wisdom. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the duplicity of the treacherous destroys them. And duplicity is people that's got a lot of game, a lot of guile, a lot of stuff with them. On the day of wrath, wealth doesn't help. How many of us lost power and still had money in our pocket? Don't answer, just think about that. And I'm just saying, we had some tough days, y'all. On the day of wrath, wealth doesn't help, but righteousness rescues from death. I pray everybody's power has been restored. The righteousness of the innocent levels their way, but wickedness of the wicked makes them fall. The righteousness of the upright rescues them, But the treacherous are trapped by their own intrigues, by their own plans, by their own manipulation. It catches up with us, saints. You might be riding high right now and you thinking, man, I'm smarter than all of them put together. They haven't figured me out yet. Yeah, they have. Some are just choosing to be silent. None of us are going to get away with anything. And we're going to reap what we sow. When a wicked man dies, his hope perishes. What he hopes for from evil comes to nothing. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked comes to take his place. With his mouth, the hypocrite can ruin his neighbor. I want to let that resonate just a little bit. But by knowledge the righteous are delivered. When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. And when the wicked perish, there is joy. By the blessing of the upright, a city is raised up, but the words of the wicked tear it down. He who belittles another lacks good sense, whereas a person of discernment stays silent. A gossip goes around revealing secrets, but a trustworthy person keeps a confidence. Without clever tactics, an army is defeated. Let me read that again. Listen to EWC. Without clever tactics, an army is defeated. And victory comes from much planning. Much planning. Much planning. Warriors, spiritual warriors. Without clever tactics, an army is defeated. And victory comes from much planning. How much planning has been done when you want to go to war? He who guarantees a loan for a stranger will suffer, but refusing to underwrite is safe. A gracious woman obtains honor. Aggressive men obtain wealth. Aggressive men obtain wealth. Men have a high dose of testosterone. And of course, that testosterone can get us in trouble, but used properly, that's what gets you up in the morning and makes you go to work. That's what makes you take the trash out after you've been asked 100 times. We need testosterone because we're supposed to be dressing and keeping what we've been given by the Most High. It's necessary. But again, if you misuse it, it'll get you in trouble. A man who is kind does himself good. I got to keep reading that. A man who is kind does himself good, but the cruel does harm to himself. So, sometimes it makes us feel good when we mean, but here it's telling me, it don't profit you nothing. So let's work on not being so mean, even if you get irritated, agitated, and mad about something. Being mean is not going to help the situation. It's just going to cause you more grief. And we got to remember that, because then when you get agitated and that testosterone starts to build, you're going to do something stupid, particularly as men. Ladies have some testosterone too. And I know about, what is it, estrogen or something. But being emotional, being overly emotional, clouds our judgment. And I want us to take just a second and just kind of go over your life at some major decisions that you made. Did you make them out of emotion? Or did you make them because you planned? That's between you and the one that made you. Did testosterone get you in trouble? Misuse of testosterone. The profits of the wicked are illusory. That's that esoterical stuff. It's kind of just out there. You think you got it, but you really don't. Kind of like cotton candy. Remember the cotton candy we used to get at the fair? That thing be real big, and then you bite into it, and it's sweet, but it's just a bunch of puffed air or whatever. But those who sow righteousness gain a true reward. Genuine righteousness leads to life. Genuine righteousness leads to life. But the pursuer of evil goes to his own death. The crooked-hearted are an abomination to Yah. But thank God for this one of mercy. But those sincere in their ways, those sincere in their ways are his delight. I want to add something to that. Not that I'm adding to what the Most High said, but if you notice the way it was translated, it says, but those sincere in their ways are his delight. It didn't say that because they were sincere, all their ways were right. Because sincere people make bad decisions too. you can be sincere and sincerely wrong. We can be sincere and be sincerely wrong. But the mercy is, but those sincere in their ways are his delight. He'll have mercy. But that might not stop the consequences of making wrong choices. Something to think about. Something to think about. You know, well, we all know you can be forgiven for whatever you transgressed. But we still got to deal with the consequences of our actions. The thing that you brought about, it stays. Now, I know a lot of us would like to act like, well, it never happened. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, it happened. This is a time, saints, where more and more and more, I said to you some time past, I said, we got some choices to make. We got some decisions to make for our own lives. Your spouse shouldn't make these decisions for you. You got to make them for yourself. Your children can't make these decisions for you. You got to make these decisions for yourself. Your friends, your buddies, your enemies. Don't let your enemies trick you into making the wrong decision because you think by making the decision you're making, you're going against them. That's a mouthful I just said. Folks, get a hold of wisdom, get a hold of his teachings and instructions, and start working on correctly carrying them out in your lives. Because we've got some decisions to make. Each one of us. Now, children, before the age of accountability, they kind of left up to, unfortunately, their parents. And I just hope their parents are wise. But grown folks, you've got some choices to make. You've got some decisions to make. And these decisions will affect your life. That's why I said earlier, I choose life. I want to live. And I want to do everything I can to stay here as long as I can. I don't think there's anybody in here 100 yet. And if they are here and they 100, I said, well, hey, if you want to, you still got 20 more years if you want it. If you want it. I can't want it for you. And what did he say? By reason of health and strength. That's watching what you eat. Watching who you spending a lot of time around. You got reckless people in your life, chaotic people in your life. You got some decisions to make. What might work for me may not work for you. What might work for you might not work for me. Don't use me as an example about what you should do. You know what your makeup is. You know better than me how you're made. You know how you tick to some degree. Well, we all know how we tick better than everybody in here. I can't tell how my dad thinks. For the most part, I mean, I've made that mistake thinking, oh, this is wrong. And flip side. Take the responsibility of wisely deciding what's best for your life if you want to live. You have a part. You have the responsibility to do that. We've got to do that. Listen to this. Now, this translation says, depend on it. In other words, you can take this statement to the bank that they're about to make. It said, depend on it. It said, the evil will not go unpunished. But the offspring of the righteous will escape. Like a gold ring in the snout of a pig is a beautiful woman who lacks good sense. Well, what if she's ugly? Well, Brad, you shouldn't say that. Well, what if he's ugly? Wonder why it was put that way. Like a gold ring in the snout of a pig is a beautiful woman who lacks good sense. Yeah. The righteous desire only good, but what the wicked hope for brings wrath. Listen to this one. Some give freely and still get richer, while others are stingy, but grow still poorer. The person who blesses others will prosper. He who satisfies others will be satisfied himself. The people will curse him who withholds grain. But if he sells it, blessings will be on his head. And in this country, you're not supposed to gouge people. Y'all know about price gouging. Remember how in April last year, bathroom tissue was at a premium. Remember, you go in stores, you could only get what, two rolls or something? You know, and then they had some people that went and got truckloads of that stuff, and they were selling it. I don't know if it was on eBay, but one of the trading sites. And I mean, you know, it was, people were outraged by what they were charging, and it got to them. They had a conscience, and if I'm not mistaken, they ended up stopped selling it, and they just gave it away. They had a heart. They had a conscience. Some people, you can call me all the names you want. $50 for this roll of toilet paper. And the way you looking, you got to go to the bathroom now. So, are you going to give me my $50? See, some people are just that hard-hearted. You know, in all of this, saints, we have to continually rehearse in our hearts and our minds, what did he say about how I'm to react toward people? And if you don't feel like, man, I ain't going through them 613 laws, well, then work on the 10 commandments. Just start with those. Just start with those, break each one down, and you'll see a lot of this is right in there. Listen to this. He who strives for good obtains favor, but he who searches for evil, it comes to him. See, when it rains, everything grows. Your good traits grow, and your bad traits grow. We think my good traits will just go and they all over. No. Not without you doing some work. We must stop living life as if we have no say in the matter. You have plenty of say in the matter in your life. The devil didn't make you do all the bad stuff. Some of that stuff we wanted to do. And no, I haven't switched camps. But saints, we have got to start taking some responsibility for the decisions and choices we've made in life. Everything bad that didn't work out well, it wasn't the devil's fault. Everything good. Because, if that's the case, then I'm sure some of you have had conversations with people. Some people just get frustrated and say, well, then why didn't he just make us be good? I said, that's the reason why. You got a free will. Which, along with that free will is choice. And along with choice is responsibility in making choices. Stop turning the responsibility of making choices for your life over to somebody else. Let me ask you something. For those that are, I'm not going to make a move unless God lead me. Well, let me ask you, Elmo, if you're to have this settling up, if you're the one to come face to face with the one that made you, if nothing wasn't my fault, then what is he going to judge you on? I'm going to ask you that again. If it was never your fault, I was just waiting on you all life, Lord. Oh, really? Think about that for a second. And flip side, the bad stuff. You ain't going to be able to put all that on that guy. You're not going to be able to do that. They said, well, wait a minute, hold it. Now some people think it's going to be some kind of film. Well, okay, if that's the case, when he hit the film, do you think you're going to see Hasatan there too? It's just going to be me. When I was a little boy and didn't know what I was doing in second grade, I liked my teacher. Second grade, I still didn't know nothing. I was innocent then, but You know, I told you I was not a Boy Scout. Went to the next door neighbor's house, Miss Graves, stole some roses. Gonna give them to my second grade teacher because I thought she was hot. So if the devil made me do it, and he showed me that, he gonna say, well, Barry, let's look at this thing together. Well, I don't see old Slewfoot in there. I just see you. You and them scissors and them roses. And I told y'all the story. My mother asked me where I got them from. I told her I got a beating. Then I had to go next door to Miss Graves' house, tell her what I done. She had mercy on me, but that wasn't enough. Then I had to go to school and tell my second grade teacher what I had done. And I hadn't told her what I thought about her in the second grade. I should have known I was headed for trouble. What I'm saying, saints, I did that. I did that. And I picked something safe because there's some other treacherous stuff in my life, but y'all don't need to know about that because you got your own. I picked something safe because we in church. Let us be responsible. Now, if you don't want to live 120 years, you don't have to. But I would say this respectfully. If that's not your thing, okay, maybe you feel like, I've done all I'm going to do. I just want out of here. Because a lot of saints, Jesus beamed me up, okay. If that's what you want, that's what you, okay, all right. But don't stop me in my pursuit of trying to do what I want to do as far as life. Because, see, your pursuit of I know my rights and I got freedom and this and that. Listen, yeah, all of that's fine as long as it don't infringe on another. Do you understand that? See, because again, I told you earlier, we got some choices to make. We got some decisions to make. Any of y'all thought about that vaccine? Don't answer, just. Any of y'all did anything about some of that stuff I shared with you some weeks ago about checking on your retirement and your Social Security? Any of y'all done any of that? Don't answer. I'm just throwing that out. Folks, things are getting ready to get more serious, and it has nothing to do with who's in the White House. You got some choices to make. You, not me in your life, and not you in my life. We all have choices to make in our lives, and you cannot or you should not pawn them off on somebody else because they're not going to make the right decision for you. They're going to make the right decision for themselves as it relates to you. Oh, are you telling me to be selfish? Yes, I am. And the reason I am is because it's your life on the line. It's that serious. It's that serious. And not only do we have decisions to make in the United States, throughout all creation. If we are adults, if we are grown, then let's start acting like it. Listen to this. He who trusts in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like sprouting leaves. Here's the next one. Those who trouble their families inherit the wind, and the fool becomes slave to the wise. Inherit the wind. Let me help you, because I know a lot of us don't know exactly what that means. Let me help you. And still check what I tell you. Those who trouble their families inherit the wind. In other words, you're going to end up with nothing. When all is said and done, you're going to end up with nothing. Anybody remember what they call a shotgun house? Those little thin houses. You can open the door, front door, and open the back door, and the wind just comes blowing right on through it. See, part of these decisions that's got to be made, you're not just making decisions for yourself. Now, when it comes to if you want to stay here, yeah, you are. But when you make bad decisions, you affect your family. If they care anything about you. Now, some of us have done things and stuff has happened in families, and some, unfortunately, some family members don't give two bricks about one another, and that's a sad thing. So some of them don't care what you do. But we got to start realizing, hey, wait a minute, really, it's not just me. If we start thinking more and more, just go one extra step, if I do this, how is this going to reflect? How is this going to reflect on my family? We've all had people tell us, this is my life. I ain't hurt nobody but myself. That's not true. Chances are the person you made that statement to, they really care about you. Now, I know sometimes we get on one another's nerves and we feel like, God, you're just nagging. But they care. I told you all, I shared with you a couple of weeks ago, I tell you, we saints, listen. If you can, avoid senseless quarrels. Every time something happens, now, those of us that are still here, now we argue with one another over really not important stuff. I had a fraternity brother that passed. And every man had to make a decision for himself. Now, some of the guys couldn't come. Some of the guys wouldn't come, and that's okay. You're making a decision for your life. But then those that showed, these grown men got an attitude with, hey man, we supposed to, hey, listen. Life is more serious than some stupid fraternity. See, even with these organizations, what it's really all about is just relationships. Cut through the chase. I don't care what you call it. I mean, now, yeah, it's some pretty whacked out organizations, and people do some pretty weird, crazy stuff, organizations. But guess what? It's some religious organizations that's got a bunch of flakes too, and I would call a name, but I'm not, because some of y'all belong to some of them. But they doing some, And I mean, you can just look at some people and say, well, hey, who have you affiliated with? Well, I was a member here and I did this and I did that. Okay. In fact, you can tell how some people even believe by what organizations they put themselves to. You know how far in the scriptures to go with them, because if you go to a certain part of scripture, now a fight going to ensue. But when you're trying to make somebody feel bad, listen, again, people made decisions based on their lives. Some of the guys were physically ill, couldn't come. That's all right. You got families. What, you gonna come and risk something and take it back to your household? Huh? And folks, we get in all silly kind of arguments. I'm not against it, but a lot of fights and stuff come about what somebody put on your Facebook page or your Twitter account. Hey, stop that. We as believers, we gotta be the real deal. Let the phony people do all of that crazy stuff. Don't get caught up in all of that. I mean, and these are grown, intelligent, successful, and I'm like, man, listen at us. We sound stupid. And I tell them the same thing like I tell here. Don't do what stupid people do. Well, you shouldn't call people stupid. Well, since I'm in church, and I don't mean this, pray for me, but I don't mean it. Listen, when it comes to life, you're not going to have a say in my life. I don't trust mankind anymore in that realm. There are too many lies been told. Too many things been changed. And too many falsehoods have been perpetuated. And I just pray that people are sincere, because it would break your heart if you found out they knew better and never shared it. That's a dangerous thing. Yeah, that's why I went back to that scripture. You can be sincere, but incorrect. You can be sincere and not accurate. Consider the source. Where are you getting your information? Who are these researchers? Who are these scholars, so-called? Who are these people that have set themselves up as some authority? By what authority have they named themselves this? I mean, nowadays, folks, anybody can write a book. Did you know that? Now you can be a TV star. All you got to do is get a camera, go on YouTube, get some followers. And I told you, we're so gullible in this country and really worldwide. If I decided all of a sudden I want to worship a rock, I guarantee you within 30 days, I'm going to have a big following. Man, I always knew it was something to them rocks. People are just, it's alarming. It is alarming what people believe. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he who is wise wins souls. And then it closed out with, and it says here, it says, if the righteous are paid what they deserve here on earth. Let me read that again at EWC. It says, if the righteous are paid what they deserve here on earth, how much more the wicked, and then they use this word that I don't particularly care for, and the sinner. The sinner. The sinner. If the righteous are paid what they deserve here on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner? So here they're intimating that, hey, you might get what's coming to you before you get out of here. And you know, really, there may be some mercy in that. Because, again, if you're going to have this face-to-face, if that's how the Most High decided to do it, because he might do it mass style. He might do it like it did at Mount Sinai. We don't know. And see, that's another thing. A whole lot of folks talk as if they know. Those are his plans. Let me say that again. How all of this is going to culminate, that's up to him. Not some rabbi. Lord knows, not some televangelist. Not some preacher. Not some pastor. Those are his decisions. But the mercy is, hey, if you settle up, maybe you don't have to settle up the second time. Don't know. Saints, let us be sober. Let us be vigilant. Let us be wise, and let us be realistic. I know that's a bad word in this church. Look at life and look at your life such as it is, not by how you wish it were. But the ability to change, that's up to you. Your thought process. If you don't have one, get one. If it's been steeped in emotion, dial back on some of that and pick up the word and start reading a little bit more and ask for more of a deeper interpretation of what you're reading. Truly quiet yourself. Take your wish list that you've had for years and years and years and just set that off to the side. And just ask him, you know, it's been a little bumpy for me. And I already know, I mean, you and I both know I've done some stuff right. I've done a little bit right. I'm still doing a whole lot that I shouldn't be doing. But can we have a meeting of the minds? I'm having a hard time right now. And I need some relief. And you're the only one that can bring about this relief. And you've given me the instructions. Clearly, I'm not following them properly. Help me. Help me. Help me do this thing. All these weather situations, I call some of my friends. I say, I got 3 minutes. Call my friends in Houston. And I mean, you know, all I could do was just listen to them. I couldn't help them. You know, and they didn't want to hear, well, my lights was out for a couple of days, but, you know, you know what I mean. Folks sometimes start telling you their woes, and here we go, load ours in. Well, let them have their moment. They're hurting. They just want somebody to talk to. Be a sounding board sometime and just hold back on your stuff. Decision time is coming for us. Decision time is coming for us. And every one of us got some decisions to make. And I am not trying to scare anybody. I just want I want everybody informed, but I really want people informed that look like me because we have been out of the loop for so long. We don't even aspire to even know some things. We think things are mundane. And for some of us, I'm telling you, you're going to wake up and the wind going to have blown through and blew everything you got and somebody else got it. And you go, what happened? Don't be like that. Don't be like that. In closing, 1 minute. See, Reg, I'm trying to be obedient. Saints, where you can, please, keep yourself safe. Keep yourself safe. Just follow wisdom. And like I said, if you don't feel like breaking down the whole 613, get back. All of us, most of us know the 10 by heart. Get back in those and start reading them and rereading them and rereading them, rereading them, and sit there for a little while and just meditate on it and see if he say anything. And if he don't say anything for a little while, that's all right. Come back the next day and try it again. What is the purpose of that? Because I got some decisions to make. I want to make sure that my decision-making process includes his teachings and instructions. And I want the same for you. Not some book that I read by somebody else that maybe tricked you. I've said it before, don't ever take the word of anything else that was created over the Creator's words. His words are of utmost importance. They are life in itself. Now, man has come up with a whole lot of nice stuff. But man didn't do all of this. The one that made everything you see and what you don't see, the things in the past, the things in present, and the things to come. That's who you want. What counsel do you have for me, Father? That's who we need to get back to. And you don't even need a TV for YouTube for that. God bless you. Pastor, will you come? Mm-hmm.